place that a lot of good memories were made. But it's a business trip. We're going in to win a game.
Jackson guns it downfield, a high throw, intercepted. Touchdown!
Got him in
Bengals!
Crawfish, gumbo, beignets, jazz music, and a homecoming for Uno. It's finally New Orleans week as the Bengals head down to the Big Easy, eyes wide for a win. Welcome in to Bengals Weekly. I'm Marissa Contepelli. Now, the Bengals are on the road again this week, but before we get to kickoff from the Superdome, we take you down to field level for sounds of the game as we had Tyler Boyd mic'd up in Baltimore. We'll also check in with Dan, Dave, and Jeff, who tell us how the Bengals can get their groove back. And something special happened the last time Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase played at the Superdome. And coming up on Countdown, I'll tell you what that was. But first, Vonn Bell snagged his third interception of the season, as the safety has 5 picks in his last 11 games. We now go behind the stripes with the Bengals captain. Start off, I feel like you've been on a tear over these last few games. How do you feel the season's been going for you so far?
It's been going well. Just really capitalizing on the opportunities that have been handed, and really just going out there, just letting it all hang out and just having fun with the guys.
Ultimate professional. Part of the reason we turned this place was a guy like Vaughn who brought a winning culture here. And he's all about doing things the right way, all about business all the time, all about getting better as a player, and you can see how that's developed.
The high throw, intercepted. Intercepted! Picked off by the Bengals, Vonn Bell.
Picked off at the 9-yard line. Vonn Bell, his second of the game.
The ball is fumbled. Vonn Bell.
I'll be right there when they need me like.
He leads by example. He's in the weight room every morning at 6 a.m. The guys know it. So everything he does is about winning.
It starts with Monday through Thursday, I do lift. But Mondays, get a lift in, review the film from the game. Tuesdays, I had the DBs come in, and we'll go through the game recap and to get a jump start of the week for the next opponent. Wednesday, Thursday, get the lift in, and Fridays, kind of like dull down. I'll do like Pilates or some preparations off for the games. We're just putting the time in and just sacrificing and really just trying to get ahead and stay ahead. That's the biggest thing. I'm just a creature of habit, and that's just me. It's to keep me going. If I didn't start off with a lift or anything, getting up early, something would be off, and I don't like that feeling.
That's big time stuff. First game ball, Vonn Bell, 2 picks.
I said I'm gonna be myself more this year. I was like, I'm about to bring the Dewey back. And everybody was like, man, the Dewey. They didn't believe it. I said, I'm believing this Dewey. And this just shows like the natural swagger and just let me just be myself, so.
Coach, in the do-rag. In the white do-rag.
I don't know, it just come to me naturally. And I'm really into fashion. Try to, on the off season, try to go to fashion shows a lot. And really just get out and venture to network, and I don't know, it's like art to me. And really just try to put things together week in and week out. And so guys come to me and see what I'll be shopping at sometimes, and so I try to put them on game a little bit, but I can't give too much secrets. Be yourself, like I said, and let your natural instincts just kick in. The room got some swag now. I like that. I already know how Cheese coming, Jesse coming. I'm proud of Eli. Over the years, he stepped it up. I feel like we got the most swagger for sure, and it carries over to the field, and it shows. It shows indeed.
Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson were better together in Week 5 for the Bengals. The linebackers were the top 2 tacklers in the game, combining for 15, as they each have over 30 tackles now on the season. And the duo was bringing the pressure on Lamar Jackson. Wilson recorded his first QB hit of the year, as Pratt got to Jackson for his first career solo sack.
And Jackson gets out of the pocket,
to his left and thrown down by Jermaine Pratt. Pratt is the linebacker with Wilson.
Pratt saw a season-high 58 snaps against Baltimore as Wilson played every defensive snap for a 5th consecutive game. Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson are better together. Brought to you by Fifth Third Bank.
Let's go! 19-yard strike. Joe Burrow to Hayden Hurst.
Coming up next, we take you down to field level for sounds of the game. Stay with us here on Bengals Weekly. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Kettering Health, the official healthcare provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. With Tyler Boyd on the mic, you always know you're gonna hit big levels. Let's now send it down to field level to listen in to this week's Sounds of the Game.
Sunday Night Football, AFC North. Y'all know where we at, man. Y'all stay tuned and enjoy the show.
We are minutes away from the Bengals and Ravens, the first of at least 2 meetings this year.
Pressure's on.
Jackson guns it downfield, a high throw, intercepted. Von Bell, who had 2 interceptions last week, comes away with another interception tonight.
Go, boys.
Burrow back to throw, looking, throws, caught by Mike Thomas, gets away from a tackle. He's into Ravens territory at the 40, sideline 35, high steps his way down to the 30, and gets shoved out of bounds after a big gain.
Let's go, Mike.
2 receivers left, 1 out to the right. Burrow drops back to throw, bouncing in the pocket, chucks it over the middle, caught at the 5 by Hayden Hurst, driving toward the end zone, extends the ball, touchdown!
Let's go!
19-yard strike, Joe Burrow to Hayden Hurst.
Let's go! Hey, let's go! Let's go!
You think he was a little fired up to play against the Ravens?
1:09 left in the half, Cincinnati trailing Baltimore 10-7.
Come on, boys, it's our shot. Let's take advantage. Let's take advantage.
Field goal from 40 to square this game. Perfect. And we are all even at the break.
We good. We definitely got a chance.
9:42 to go. We just had back-to-back 15-play drives that took more than 8 minutes, and those 2 produced a total of 3 points.
Touchdown for the lead for Cincinnati. It's mixing, dancing, inside the 5, to the goal line. And they mark him short initially.
Mix, get in there, Mix. We got you, bro. Push. Let's be great, boys. Hey, best play of the game right here. Get him in there, bro. Get him in there. Come on, fellas.
Bengals have the ball inches away from the goal line. Burrow runs a quarterback sneak. Wilcox pushes from behind. Touchdown!
Nice.
Let's go!
We got 3 timeouts left. They get in field goal range. They're going to keep it. We might get it back. Take a breath. We're ready to go. We're ready.
Justin Tucker will try to win the game. Snap to put down the kick. Baltimore wins.
But we have our opportunities, just have to capitalize, but we'll be fine. We'll get this thing going. We have no panic in this locker room.
Every Friday this fall, the Bengals will be out at a different high school football game as we have teamed up with Ohio Cat to cheer on local teams. Last month, Houday and the Bengals Stripe Squad were out at Taft High School as the Senators hosted the Wyoming Cowboys. Students and fans had the chance to win great prizes, including passes to attend a closed practice later this season. Rule your school and be on the lookout for Friday Night Stripes as the Bengals and Ohio Cat could be coming to your game next. There's a lot of familiarity with these 2 teams. Coming up next, we preview Bengals versus Saints here on Bengals Weekly. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, the official bank of the Cincinnati Bengals, and your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. you cue the jazz music? Well, as we soak in the New Orleans blues and crank up the saxophone, there's one question that we need Dan, Dave, and Jeff to answer. How can the Bengals get their groove back? Let's kick it over to the trio.
The Bengals have lost 3 games on walk-off field goals. The difference between 2-3 and first place in the AFC North is razor thin. So in this Who Dey conversation, we're going to talk about 3 keys to getting their groove back. Butch, you're up first.
Take a look at the holes that Joe Mixon ran through Sunday night in Baltimore. Those are the holes that lead to the AFC playoffs. The running game is not dead. The running game has been revived. 5.6 yards per carry. The problem was they didn't have enough possessions. This was the game that hit them. In order to get these teams out of these deep zones, we have got to keep doing it. Now, they have kept doing it because Joe Mixon has the 3rd most carries in the league. He's on pace to be the first Bengals running back with more than 300 carries in more than a decade. So they understand the importance of it, but I think Sunday night they realized they still can do it.
All right, my key is something very specific. 1st and goal situations. The Bengals have had 12 opportunities this year where it's been 1st down and goal, and they've only scored 7 touchdowns. That's 58%. Last year in those situations, it was 72%. That is a huge difference. It's easy to say, don't get cute and run the Philly special. Well, there's literally a statue dedicated to the Philly special in Philadelphia. We don't like the call when the play doesn't work. But the bottom line is the Bengals, when they're inside the 10 and they have a 1st down, they need to score touchdowns. The Bengals have smart players and great coaches. They need to get that number closer to 70%. Lap?
Absolutely, Dan. They have to finish drives with touchdowns, not field goals. How about quick start? We talked about it ad nauseum. Beginning of the season, 1st game, Pittsburgh 31-yard pick 6. They get off to a big start in the football game. The Cooper-led Dallas Cowboys, they go on 2 drives, 18 plays, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. They get off to a quick start. The Bengals recover a little bit, and they get off to quick starts. They take a lead, build on a lead, and they handle it for a couple of victories. And then they get bitten once again by Baltimore. Their first 13 plays offensively netted 22 yards. They fell behind 10-0 in that football game. Bottom line is, play with a lead.
The Bengals have 3 losses by a total of 8 points. There are 3 keys to getting their groove back in this Who Dey conversation.
The Bengals look to get back in the win column Sunday against the Saints. To preview this AFC versus NFC showdown, let's send it over to Dan Horde.
The Bengals have had many great receivers over the years, but nobody caught more passes in a single season than T.J. Houshmandzadeh, 112 back in 2007, and the former Pro Bowl receiver joins us now. T.J., opposing defenses are trying to take away the deep ball from Cincinnati this year by playing 2 deep safeties all of the time, and it's been effective. What's the answer to beating that coverage?
Run the ball. Just run the ball. And not only will it open up the passing game, it's going to make it easier for the offensive line to block in the passing situations. Because now they can't just rush up the field. They got to kind of hold their gaps to play the run. So just run. If you can run the ball effectively and get 4 to 5 yards a pop, they're going to bring the safety down.
After his record-setting rookie year, Jamar Chase is getting double-teamed on just about every route. How do you get your star receiver the ball when that's the case?
I mean, it's simple, man. It's what I said earlier. If they're able to run the ball effectively, they're not going to be able to double him. And when he's not doubled, when you're not doubled, you got to make the play. And so when you have T. Higgins, you have Tyler Boyd, those guys can force that double team to come off Chase. And if they don't, you see what you saw with the Miami Dolphins. T. Higgins gets off and has a big game. And if they're willing to lose a game because you want to stop Chase from going off, and T does, and so be it.
They head to New Orleans this week, a very loud place to play. The Saints are 2-3 under their new head coach, Dennis Allen. Do you have a couple of keys that immediately come to mind when you look ahead to Sunday?
Man, the Saints are going to play really good defense. And again, the Saints don't really double guys. If you watch them play defensively, they put Marshawn Lattimore on your best guy and say beat him. They did it with Justin Jefferson. They didn't double him. When they play the Bucs, they don't double Mike Evans. So maybe this can be a game Jamar can look at it and say, Dennis Allen doesn't double guys. He puts Marshawn Lattimore on him and say, you got him. So maybe this will be a game that Chase can get off in.
TJ, this has been great. Always appreciate your time and your insight. Continued success with the Airing It Out podcast. And we look forward to catching up again sometime down the road. Thank you.
Coming up next on Countdown, the defense is the only team in the league to... Well, we can't give it away to you that easy. I'll reveal that stat and more when we return. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Altafiber, proud to be the official internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Betfred, the official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Join Dan Horde and Dave Lapham Wednesday nights for the Bengals Game Plan radio show live, presented by Bud Light. Visit Bengals.com/gameplan for a list of locations each week. The Bengals have teamed up with CareSource to make the next generation of youth the most active and healthy yet. Earlier this year, the team took a trip to Silverton Academy as Houday and the Bengals showed students how they can be active for at least 60 minutes each day, while encouraging them to practice healthy habits. And this season, you can test your combine skills by visiting the Play 60 zone before each home game, located at the pregame at the Banks. Since the launch of the NFL Play 60 campaign, the NFL has committed more than $350 million to youth health and fitness. To learn more, visit Bengals.com/Play60. Halftime adjustments have been the name of the game for Lou Anarumo's unit. Even dating back to last season, the Bengals have been one of the better second-half defensive teams. And this past Sunday, they continued a streak that they started in Week 1. The Bengals are the only team in the league who hasn't allowed a second-half touchdown this season. This marks just the third time since 1940 a team has accomplished this feat through its first 5 games. While the defense has been stout all season long, the Bengals have generated the most QB hits in the AFC and have the third most pressures in the conference. And on fourth down, they've been stellar, allowing the lowest conversion rate in the NFL at a 16.7%. And another eye-opening stat, through 5 games, the defense has more interceptions than passing touchdowns allowed. And the defense could be in for more of that on Sunday, as New Orleans has an NFL-high 13 giveaways and hold an NFL worst -8 in the turnover margin. The Bengals are 2-1 this season when winning the turnover margin, and under Zach Taylor, hold a 15-6-1 record. Well, the all-time series between the Bengals and the Saints is tied at 7, but Cincinnati has won the last 2 games in New Orleans and holds the edge 4-2 at the Superdome. Sunday will be the team's first trip to the Big Easy in 8 years. In that last outing, Jermaine Gresham had 2 touchdowns in the 27-10 win. Now, the last time Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were at the Superdome, all they did was put up historic numbers and left with the national championship. Burrow threw for over 460 yards and 5 touchdowns, with 2 of those going to Chase. Chase's 221 receiving yards remain the most in CFP national championship history. This Sunday will also mark the return of 3 former Saints. Trey Hendrickson and Von Bell were drafted by New Orleans and each spent their first 4 years in the league with the team. Eli Apple spent the 2019 season with New Orleans, and on the other side, Saints QB Andy Dalton will now face his former team for a 3rd consecutive season. Contepelli's Countdown is presented by Betfred. And don't forget to play Ultimate Bengals on the Bengals app for your chance to win amazing prizes, including tickets to Bengals home games. Don't forget to check out Bengals Picks presented by Ohio Lottery, now in the Bengals app for your chance to win prizes throughout the season. 18 and over. Terms and conditions may apply. It's now time for this week's Kettering Health Fantasy Report. In his return to Baltimore, Hayden Hurst found the end zone for the 2nd time this season, as he paced the way with 17 fantasy points, 5th most among all tight ends for the week. Hurst has put up over 11 fantasy points now in back-to-back weeks. As for the Saints, Taysom Hill posted over 30 fantasy points after his best outing of the season. Hill logged 112 yards on the ground and found the end zone 3 times against the Seahawks. Hill was the 4th highest scoring fantasy performer for Week 5. Thanks for tuning in to Bengals Weekly. Kickoff between the Bengals and the Saints from the Superdome is coming up. For Dan Horde, Dave Lapham, Jeff Hobson, and our entire crew, I'm Marissa Contepelli. We'll see you next week. Bengals Weekly was brought to you by Altafiber, proud to be the official internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Kettering Health, official healthcare provider of the Cincinnati Bengals.